Good morning, Vietnam. Sorry.
I
Good
was
evening,
thinking that
everybody.
too.
Good
Good.
morning. Wow.
Welcome to another Friday Night Hangout brought to you by Craft Beer Nation. Tonight, the theme is, I believe it's called "I Can Drive to the Brewery in 45 minutes or less."
Or
I don't know why we didn't just say local,
Yeah,
but
drink
you know,
local.
it's all good.
it was we wanna make sure that to change the name. I think that they
Okay.
actually I remember later on the idea is to say going to the source nearby or something like that. I just couldn't word it right.
So, that means driving the speed limit, getting there in 45 minutes, or if you can drive fast and get there in 45 minutes, we
Totally
don't care.
different story.
Drone
Yeah.
delivery.
We do not condone breaking the law. We will not contribute to a GoFundMe page to pay your speeding ticket. So that said, want to remind everybody to check out our Pints and Quarts podcast. You can find it on iTunes and Stitcher and Pocket Cast and all that other. Any way you get podcasts, you can find us there. Um, Last night we were fortunate enough to have Ben Weiss on from the Brewery. He's the director of brand marketing. I think I got
Yeah.
his title right. It was a fun
Mhm.
show, so be sure to check that out. I'm not sure if the podcast is up yet, but we're working on them. We're a little behind on those, but
Next
we're
week
gonna get them.
I'll have everything update next week.
All right, so you're gonna see our podcast jump from like 50 to like almost 70, right? So a
You're
lot of
gonna
good
have to
content
watch
out
5 shows.
there. Yeah. All right, so let me introduce the panel. We have Ricky Potts. Ricky, how you doing tonight, sir?
Good, man. Excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
All right, Linda Dean, how are you doing tonight, ma'am?
Fabulous. Underbeard and underpaid.
F F A Rod, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Ray. How you doing, man?
I'm good,
Taking it
man.
local.
Lola Laracy, what it do?
I am awesome and waiting for our birthday, Randy.
That's right. We got we got 1 hour and what 47 minutes to go.
Wait, what? Your birthday's tomorrow?
You know what, like the
Yep.
poet.
Shut
Yeah.
the front door.
We're
That
gonna
is
party.
freaky cool.
Party.
And I can almost guarantee you that Lola's drinking a beer from Intuition, but I might be wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I would have.
I bet that you were wrong.
Yep.
It's either Intuition or Ardwolf. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
She already said she was off style.
I didn't have.
Oh,
I didn't have a chance to go anywhere. So
Gil, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing awesome.
Can
Drinking
you
great
can,
beer.
can you show us the glass that you're drinking out of? What? Look at that.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna get mine
Look at
too.
that.
Let me spin it around. Let me
Look at
spin
that.
it around.
Look how
Get
fast
right.
it's doing it.
And
A blue
Alright.
box me otherwise, yeah.
I got you, blue
I
box.
knew that
The
was
rest
gonna
of
be
you
a
just
dark
be-
beer.
Just
Look at that.
sitting
There's
on.
our new glass,
With new logo.
new logo.
Yeah.
So how many are left, Gil? How many can the public demand?
The blend. I'm actually.
This is a small order, so the public
Yeah,
probably can't demand me.
No, I have 3 left that I'm willing to sell, but I'm gonna make another order. I'm gonna order more glasses.
I think I want 4. I didn't initially with the Pints and Courts because that's not a show that I'm involved with, but I want to support Pints and Courts because it's not about that show, it's about the community. So I think I want 4.
All right, so we're gonna go local, like we said. Let's just go in the reverse order of how I introduce everybody because I know Freddie's been on for a while and he's probably ready to go into beer number 3. So that said, Gil, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking your favorite style.
Barley wine, a double IPA, Imperial Stout.
I'm drinking a pumpkin beer.
Oh. No.
So,
Well,
next
tell you
person.
So Lola, what are you drinking tonight?
I'll tell you what. It's not your average pumpkin beer. There's very little pumpkin. The spices are well balanced. It's a pumpkin stout.
Is that She Devil or what is it called?
No, this is a first year they brewed. This is called Spino Remains.
That's from Springhouse. I can tell by the label.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that's from Springhouse. I mean, they have whoever is their artist does an amazing job with their label. And
It's called Spinal Remains.
Spino Remains. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a bottle of this beer. just so you can try. This is a very unique stout.
Like, you gonna like this pumpkin beer, damn it.
I'm gonna shovel down your throat.
Easy.
Gil's gonna send you all his extras.
Gonna blend with Boulevard. No, this is. I mean, Spring House always surprises me. They do some crazy beer. Their peanut butter stout, their PB and J. You know, they do a lot of great beer, and this is no exception. This is a very unique pumpkin beer. There's you get the chocolate, you get the pumpkin, but you get the chocolate, the coffee through, which it overpowers the pumpkin a little, which is a good thing. And normally, you know, there's an ingredient that overpowers the beer. You kind of set things off, but in this case, the spices are very minimum. So it's a very, very good stout in general. I like it a lot. Yeah. As you can see, it's black.
Yeah.
Through.
Speaking of pumpkin beers, I saw a guy on Facebook mention or suggested mixing pumpkin and Warlock, or mixing pumpkin with creme brulee.
Yeah,
That sounded interesting.
Pumpkin with creme brulee.
That sounds interesting.
Well, anything, it depending which beer you're comparing. If you're trying to make pumpkin better, anything you put it in it will make it better. You can get a worse
even Bud Light will make your beer better.
Now,
If
if you put pumpkin on the Warlock, and then you are wasting the beer.
I agree. You're wasting both.
You know,
you're not wasting the pumpkin. You're wasting the Warlock.
Right. Exactly. So it depends how you view what you're doing. You know, you're trying to make the pumpkin better, or you spoiling the Warlock. That's.
So, Gil, your local craft beer scene is pretty legit, right? I mean, it's not like Lancaster County is, you know, in some major metropolitan area, and you guys got a bunch of craft breweries on there, right? How many?
Yeah, well, let's see. Like tonight we did the 45 minutes drive, so I can go pretty far. I can go out of Lancaster with that. But
let's just talk
Lancaster, yeah. Lancaster itself has Rumspringa, has stouts, Spring House, San Boniface, Black Forest, Boobs.
You can go to ballpark figure.
Yeah, Boobs. Yeah, I don't know, maybe 10 in a.
Wow,
in
that's
a 25 miles radius. 25 minutes radius. Yeah.
That's like, who y'all the nerve of you guys? You think that you're San Diego or something?
Yeah. And if you drive a little more, you get Victory 40 minutes, Hershey. You get Trugs in there, and a couple breweries. Liquid Hero in Harrisburg. Appalachian Brewery. I mean, it's just it's phenomenal if you stretch from Harrisburg all the way to Philly. Choices are enormous.
Endless. Yeah.
But I will tell you what, only half of them are good.
Oh, it'd be like that.
To be honest, yeah.
Lola, what graceth thou vessel?
Well, I took my own interpretation of the theme. I decided it was beers that I can get to within a 450 minute radius. So
Similar.
it's similar. I mean, it would take all night, but I could drive there. I got Funky Buddha,
Ooh.
Sweet Potato. This is a good one. This is my third time having it. The 2 times I've had it before was in restaurants, so this is the first time I've had it from a bottle. And Linda's going to get a bottle of this also. It's quite good. It's definitely got the sweet potato thing going for it. I mean,
I want some. That
and
sounds
it smells good.
Hard no mention of my name. So.
Yeah, or mine. My name never.
I prefer sweet potato. They just call it an ale, I think. Just say ale.
I don't know.
This says sweet potato
strong
ale.
It's a strong ale.
I prefer sweet potato over pumpkin in beers.
Me too. This is very good. And
you actually get flavor.
It's very good flavor. And it's got a little bit of like a spiciness, just a tiny bit.
Like pumpkin pie spice you talking about? Or?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I mean, pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie are very similar, right? So the spices are going to be along the same lines.
I would think so. It definitely smells good.
How's it
Some-
taste? Is
Oh,
it
it tastes
amazing?
really good. It's really good.
Cool beans. So
Yeah.
Lola, let's talk a little bit about your craft beer scene. I know you and I had the opportunity to go to Intuition
Intuition.
together. We drove past Ardwolf on the way there. You guys got another one that I follow on Facebook. I can't remember it. Not on Facebook, Instagram. I can't remember the
There's one
name.
called Veterans United.
Uh-huh.
Another called Zeta.
Zeta Brewing.
I've been
yeah.
there. I went. Jamie and I actually went there a year ago, and I interviewed the brewer. So
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked it. I'd like to go back. It's out at the beach. One day I'll go
Okay.
back.
So Jacksonville, I mean, if you include Jack's Beaches, I mean, you guys got a pretty good number of craft breweries around you as well.
When I interviewed the guy a year ago, at that point he said there were 12. So there may be more now.
Now, don't get it twisted because, I mean, that's a lot, but Jacksonville is a massive city.
It's huge. I mean,
Jacksonville.
it's huge. That's why I don't go to these places often, because they're so far away.
It's the biggest city in the United States based on
By
on
land
area.
mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. It's pretty much all of Duval County. The county is the city.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Beans. All right, Freddie, I know you probably you got more than a swallow left. I thought you just had a little bit of.
No, it's a 750. So.
Okay, so what blesseth thou chalice?
So I'm drinking local to me. It's a Trillium. It's a 2014 Night and Day. It's an American Imperial Stout brewed with a cold filtered coffee. And, cold brewed rather coffee. Originally when I had this, I remember specifically it was like it's like a coffee bomb, real roasty, tons of like an espresso coffee, very bold. A year later, this thing, a good body. A year later, this thing, the coffee seems, as always, it'll drop off. It seems like a bit. You still get a little bit of coffee. It's still a little roasty, but it's picked up a big sweetness to it, like a dark fruit sweetness that I don't ever remember ever being there. But it is really, really, really good because I think maybe it complements like the deep, like the like a bitter chocolate roasty like vibe to it. At the end, it's not super overwhelmingly sweet, but it's delicious. I mean, you can see like it sticking to the glass.
Viscosity.
Yeah, again, the mouthfeel is very creamy. It's solid, especially for Trillium. They're making a name for themselves within the IPA game, and they're a farmhouse brewery. But they're really stepping it up now, coming with the stouts.
Their IPAs, and I said this before, their IPAs are amazing because they brew them dry, kind of, sort of. At least to me, they brew them dry. So, like, you don't even want to put the glass down, right? You just want to kind of keep taking sip, and before you know it, you just put 750 down. And it was an amazing experience. And y'all, I want y'all to chime in here. Tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like in my observation, beers that are brewed. You see how I kept going? Beers that are brewed with cold pressed coffee, the coffee flavors seem to stick around longer than if it was hot coffee added or conditioned on beans or whatever.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, because it's still present, the coffee, but it's just not like the bold as bold as it was before. A little bit over a year later, it's still definitely hanging around.
Because Gil, you remember that Imperial Stout I brewed that I let you have a while ago? Mm-hmm. I opened the last bottle 2 weeks ago, and the coffee was still prevalent. It was still there. So. Cold pressed coffee is the way to go. Freddie, craft beer scene in Boston. I mean, we know Trillium's awesome. I mean, y'all got a number of Night Shift, Mystic.
Night Shift. Yeah, it's kind of taking off here. You got Mystic. They've got a lot of pretty things. There's Trillium. There's Jack's Abbey. There's a lot of small, nano breweries, very tiny. I can leave my house and within 20 minutes I could probably hit at least like 5 or 7 breweries now. In 10 minutes, I can hit at least 3 or 4 now. And there's one coming up, I think, end of this year. That's going to be another like.
Wait. You mean in 10 minutes you can hit 3 or 4 more?
Yeah, breweries.
Okay.
Yeah. They're just opening up everywhere, man. They're popping up, but it's definitely a shift. It's coming alive out here. There's a lot of, there's excuse me, like Cambridge Brewing again, like you said, Mystic, Harpoon. Yeah, they're just period. I mean, Sam Adams, you know, for what it's worth. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's you can take a drive, definitely downtown Boston, go any direction, and you're gonna probably hit a brewery right now within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, my experience when I went to Boston, and also just some of the beers that I've had from Boston, like almost everybody there, they're making quality brews. So
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good scene right now.
So that beer that you're drinking is cold. It's cold brewed, did you say?
Yes. Yep.
it's cold pressed coffee in it.
Yeah. Cold brewed coffee. I believe the it's literally like a 2-minute walk for them too, where they get their coffee from. It's pretty convenient for them, I guess.
Yeah, the advantage is like the cold brewed coffee. Well, I don't know if you would call
I think they say it's less acidic as well.
Yeah, it's less acidic. It's one big thing. It's it gets more of the fragrance and the flavors, and it's an infusion. It's a slow infusion, right? Than just you rush hot water through it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get all those oil, those aromatics, everything. So you get a more taste. You get a more true taste from coffee, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place in Scottsdale that it's called Cartel Coffee. And they do a really good cold brew, and it's on tap all over the place. But they brew as well, and they have 7 or 8 beers that are coffee beers, like a coffee brown and a coffee stout, etc.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, they use the cold brew coffee, and it's a similar taste. I feel like I've had cold brew from a lot of different roasters, but I feel like it's a similar taste, but it's a better taste, and it's a better coffee.
I see it a lot. You see a lot of people doing the cold brew now. Trillium does a cold brewed blonde barley wine.
Have you ever guys tried a coffee on nitro? Some coffee houses now have a tap, and it's coffee. It's not beer. And they put nitro in it, so it's coffee. So you get that's very creamy.
That sounds amazing.
That's
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
I'm waiting for our Starbucks to put it in, so that I can try it.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I have never tried before, and then I was in McKinney, Texas. Across the street, there's a coffee house, and I see the tap room, and I'm saying, "What are you guys serving on that tap?" And then the guy says, "Oh, that's our. We just start serving coffee on nitro."
I would drink that by the gallon.
No doubt.
That'd be awesome.
All right, Linda, what are you drinking from your hood? You stay drinking local, so I know this was an easy one for you tonight.
Well, I decided my first beer was going to come from McMenamins, and I do not mention McMenamins a whole lot simply because they don't bottle. You want McMenamins, you got to go to the pub.
That's the way it be sometimes.
Yeah, we have a few like that.
This is Griff's Porter, and it's pretty rich with a chocolatey type taste, a chocolatey roasty taste, but there isn't a whole lot of coffee in this, which fits my style just fine. There is another dark beer, a Terminator Stout, and if you want coffee, if you want that really rich coffee flavor to grab you by the tongue and slap you around a bit, that's the one you get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Griff's Porter has a nice, easy drinking, chocolatey roastiness to it. The head doesn't stick around very long, and it doesn't have an enormous aroma, but it's fantastic to drink with almost any meal that you'll get there.
What's the ABV on it? Is it an Imperial Porter or just?
No,
like
this is about a 6.8, I think.
Okay. So, what all do you have? I know you got McMenamins, you got Flat Tail, you got what's the other one? I can't remember.
Corvallis population is about 55,000 people, and we have, let's see, we have Oregon Trail, Block 15, McMenamins, Flat Tail, Sky High, Two Towns, Mazama, and Nectar Creek, and there are at least 2 that I have not visited yet. So we have about 10 within a 10-mile radius.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Easily biking. I mean, I get to Oregon Trail within 3 minutes.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And just maybe a minute after that, I hit Flat Tail, and then Sky High, And then McMenamins and Block 15 is huge. It goes both ways. They have two spots now in Corvallis. So,
Nice.
yeah, we have a really big local scene. Flat Tail is shipping to Arizona, and Block 15 is starting to get ready to ship their stuff out of state
When
too.
is that starting? Because they're not here yet.
No, Flat Tail is in Arizona. I don't know where in Arizona yet.
Yeah, it's
I have
not
to
Phoenix.
I have to check.
Okay. Ricky.
So, before I get started, I'm drinking out of a Fate glass. So that's the local part of this evening.
Yeah.
And the beer
Are you drinking a Fate beer out of another Fate beer out of a? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, I'm drinking a non-Fate beer out of a Fate glass. So I'm drinking a heavier-handed double IPA. And
Okay.
heavier-handed is a double IPA from Two Brothers Brewing Company that are originally out of Illinois. And the story that I have, so they opened about 6 months ago. They opened a spot here in Old Town Scottsdale, and we went. It's an awesome building. It's an old steakhouse. It's actually a really cool space, 2 stories. But they didn't brew, and I was like, "You're gonna be a brewery and not brew." Like they didn't even have they opened and it was just like a tap room with 0 brewing equipment. Well, 2 weeks ago I went to, and I didn't know who he was before I went to this, but Chef Rick Bayless put on a cooking demonstration / meal thing for people in the media. I got invited to it. I went, and I was talking to him before because I did some research on him as a chef, and he has a handful of restaurants in the Chicago area, and he used to brew beer with Goose Island. Well, he brewed one beer that was only available at his restaurants. Well, I asked him about it. I was like, "Hey, I know you're no longer involved because of the Anheuser-Busch takeover," and he was like, "Yeah, as soon as that happened, they were out. I've started working with Two Brothers," and I'm like, "Hey, funny story. They just opened a location." That all being said, 2 weeks ago they started brewing here, and I got not friends with, but became buddies with one of the brothers, and I was like, "Why did you guys choose to come here?" Their parents have a place here. They were coming here all the time in the winter to get away from Chicago winters, and they were like, "You know what? Let's just open a brew pub." So this beer was not technically brewed here, but they are going to be doing 2 beers that are brewed for Arizona only, and then all of their normal beers they're going to be brewing here for West Coast distribution. So it's local-ish, and I'm drinking it out of a local glass. So, and the beer is just a malt bomb, it's not hoppy at all. But the cool thing about this beer, so they have a beer called Heavy Handed. This is Heavier Handed, and they actually handpick the hops. The Two Brothers go out and actually handpick the hops that go into this beer. So it's a cool, farm to table kind of a story.
Very nice. Very, very nice. And Doug Nolan just joined us. Doug, looking like you in a prison.
Orange is the new black.
Yeah.
All right, Piper.
I just came off the the road crew.
Do you have a beer already, or did you get a beer before you joined on, or?
Well, I do have a beer. It's I guess it's about as local can get because I couldn't get to the store to get anything local, so I went with homebrew.
That's pretty local.
Instead of 45 minutes, he was like 4 to 5 steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was made about 50 feet from where I sit now.
So what is it? Tell us a little bit.
This is an imperial stout that I brewed in February. It was loosely based off of a Stone imperial Russian stout clone recipe I made, but I kind of upped some of the grain and I dialed back some of the water, trying to really hit a higher alcohol content. Unfortunately, that did not happen. I only hit 12%.
Only.
How big was this? Was it like a 3.5, 4 gallon batch?
No, it was 5 gallons. But I have the standard 10-gallon Igloo water cooler, and by the time I got the water and the grain in the mash tun, as I was screwing on the top, it's spilling out the sides.
You had that bad boy filled up.
It was, yeah. So I had some very poor efficiency. So it ended up, my starting gravity didn't quite get where I wanted to get. That being said, it's still probably my favorite beer that I've ever made. It's about, like I said, it's about 12%. It's very sweet. I used more flaked oats than Stone, the clone recipe does, so it's kind of got that really full body creaminess to it.
How's the texture on it, Doug? Is it like chewy or
Creamy.
It's very chewy.
chewy? Yeah.
Nice.
It's very full bodied. I mean, it's just because I think I'd have to try to find the recipe. But I want to say I used over a pound of toasted flaked oats that I toasted myself in the oven. So
The show.
Awesome.
I want to real quick go back to Ricky because I forgot to ask you about what the local scene looks like in your neck of the woods.
So it's a really thriving scene, and I've only been in Arizona for 3 years. When I first got here, I was starting to get really big into craft beer, and I knew I had to kind of find a group of people. And there are two groups of people with craft beer here in the valley, and the one that I've connected to seems to be more connected to the brewing scene. But there are so many brewing companies. I mean, since we've been here, there's been probably 7 or 8 that have opened. I mean, we've got like the big guys like Santan and Four Peaks and Sonora and like big name brewing companies that are local. Then you've got guys like Fate and Wren House and all these like Arizona Wilderness is they got last year were voted the best new brewery in the world by Rate Beer.
We had those guys on Pints and Course before.
Really? No kidding. I had no idea. That's
Arizona, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we had them. Yep.
Who did you have from them?
I don't
Talk.
remember.
Yeah.
Keep talking, and I will tell you.
I bet he had a beard because they all have beards.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, they brew a beer with a brewer from my town back in Brazil, in Curitiba.
They do a lot of collaborations.
They did a
they don't-
collaboration with Way Beer down in Curitiba. They were in Curitiba for a while.
They don't bottle or can, so if they ever do a collab that's never available here, which is cool. Like, I mean, you have to they did one with Three Floyds that was only available in Indiana. So, there's so many just new small, like Red House is like they just tapped tonight, and I kind of want to figure out a way to get there. They tapped a Kit Kat flavored beer, and people are chucking into it on Facebook and Untapped. They're like, yeah, it tastes like Kit Kat. So, but going back to the cold brew coffee conversation we were having earlier, they do a cold brew coffee themselves, and they have a stout they brewed with that cold brew. They take that cold brew, and then they'll pour 15 ounces and then put an ounce of that cold brew on top of the stout, and it's just unbelievably good. So, all that being said, it's really, really vibrant and exciting what's happening. Scottsdale Beer Company they're the newest brewing company in the valley, and every time I go, they have 5-7 new beers that I've never seen before.
So Ricky, go ahead, Lola.
Would you say it's mostly brewery only, or mostly ones that bottle?
So 99% of them are brewery only. I mean, Four Peaks and Santan are really the only two. Sonoran, they bottle. Santan's cans only. Four Peaks does both cans and bottles. Not a lot of them have distribution outside of Arizona, which is Four Peaks would be the first one. I think Santan does hit a couple other surrounding states, but nothing outlandish outside of Arizona. And,
I was going to say, because I've never had any of those.
well, hashtag beer trade.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so Doug, what is the local scene like around you? I know you guys got that the 40 mile or they make the Red Clay IPA. Sunken City.
Sunken City is Red Clay. 40 Mile is I think that's the 3-notch one out of Charlottesville.
Yeah. How far are you from Charlottesville?
It's an hour 40 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not terrible. But there's that beer scene is definitely exploding right now. But probably maybe 5 or so years ago, there was only one brewery in this area. Period. Unfortunately, the beer is not very good, but their stuff's been locally has been contract brewed by Blue Mountain now for a few years, and they just moved to a new location here in Roanoke and have a small 2 or 3 barrel system. So they're doing a lot of kind of one-off things for their tasting room only. But I mean, the brewery I'm talking about, it's called Roanoke Rail House, and they're distributed to North Carolina. I think they can get them up in Northern Virginia. But most of the ones around here, I mean, it's pretty much straight city, state, regional area distribution. A couple of them get outside the area, but we've got a lot of. There's one of my favorite ones is the little nano brewery downtown. I think it's like a 2-barrel system, and they posted a link on. I'll have to send you the video. They posted a thing on their Facebook page of all the beers they brewed this year. It was like, I don't even know how many. It was like
How far are you
100
from
different
Kotu?
beers. From where?
Kotu? Is that
No, that's
yeah.
that's
That's
on the
far?
other side of the state.
okay?
Yeah,
The sense-
3.5 hours maybe. That's north of Richmond.
Yeah. And Ashland.
Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of the local guys, and if this place supposedly they're like the Roanoke Rail House, their little tasting room, their one-offs are supposed to be pretty good, and I'm hoping to get down there here soon because it's the most convenient to me. That's the problem with a lot of the ones in this area. They're not really in the city. They're kind of in the outskirts. So it takes 20, 30 minutes to get to them, which isn't terrible. But when you only have an hour to get away to hit up some of them, it kind of not very convenient. But it's definitely just blown up. I mean, a lot of the stuff's on draft. Pretty much any of the decent local restaurants around town.
Cool. So I guess it's my turn. I am drinking On the Wings of Armageddon from DC
Nice.
Brazil.
That is such a.
So good.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So here's the thing, in Northern Virginia, to say that I'm only like 25, 30 miles away from these.
Mhm. You deserve that, Randy.
And I think I don't even know who did it. I think it was Gil, but
Somebody
to-
knew.
Just all of us collectively.
but what the
I just play the wish of the crowd. That's all.
where I was trying to get is to say that I'm only 25, 30 miles away. That doesn't that says a lot in Northern Virginia, because even though I'm that close, it can take me like an hour and a half, to get there, right? So, you gotta kind of work around the traffic patterns to get there in any reasonable time, and sometimes your schedule doesn't allow for that. But nonetheless, On the Wings of Armageddon is their double IPA. I think it clocks in. I want to say it's like 10% or like 9.8% or something like that. 9.2%. Definitely. I would say a malt forward dipper. I think Doug would agree. The hop presence is still there, but there's still a lot of malt in that beer. It's a very good beer. I think it can go. I guess in its own right, it can go head to head with Heady Topper, but Heady Topper is a little bit of a different beer. In that Heady's a hop bomb, but this beer is it's much more malt forward. So, I mean, if you like malty double IPAs, you'd probably choose this one over
That's
Heady.
me.
If you
Yeah.
like,
it's definitely malty, but I'd probably compare more along the lines of things like Pliny, that Pliny for me tends to be a pretty well balanced.
yeah,
Where I think Wings is malty, I think it is more balanced. In fact, that it's not, I'd say not more malty than bitter, just because you're used to double IPAs being extremely bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
and so don't get it twisted. When I say malty, I'm not talking Dogfish Head 120 malty.
No.
Not like that. It's just that you wouldn't. Typically, when people think double IPAs, they expect to be crushed with hops, and you don't get necessarily crushed with hops in this beer. You taste malt, and I think that's good. That's
That's what I
balanced.
prefer.
Yeah. So and then to make it doubly local, well, not for me, but for Gil, I'm drinking it. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I'm drinking it out of a Springhouse Teku right there.
Yeah, right. That.
All right.
So, as far as my local scene goes, we just had a brew pub that opened up literally like a 5-minute drive away from, if that, away from me. I want to say back in August, and we had another brewery that opened up called, well, the brew pub is called Ornery. The brewery that opened up is called Growling Bear, which is, I mean, and they have like, they just opened and they have like 12 different beers on tap. So they're trying to do some really fun stuff there. We have another one opening up within 5 minutes of me. It's going to be called Beer Garden Beer House. I can't remember what the name of it is going to be.
Garden
We
beer.
have beer.
So then when you go a little bit further than that and go into the next county, which is still relatively close to me, you got two more, and then I mean it's probably within a 45-minute radius of me. There's probably about maybe like everybody else, like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there.
I thought we were having some spasm there, and you're like.
No, wait. You know what? More than that, because I gotta take. No, within 45 minutes of me, it's probably about 15, 16.
How far are things like Adroit Theory from you? Did that fall into that 45-minute?
Nah, Droid is like an hour and plus away from me.
Okay, so I have a question for all of you. How fast do you think your beer scenes are moving? Are you seeing them? Are you seeing them just explode in your area?
I know where I am.
Lightning speed.
Yeah, I know where I am. Like for the state of Virginia, up until I think it was like maybe like 3 years ago, breweries in Virginia couldn't sell beer out of their tap rooms. So it was only samples only, and so you could basically go for like a tour, and they give you, 4 1-ounce, 2-ounce, 3-ounce pours, whatever. They couldn't actually sell you a full glass of beer. Once they changed that law, breweries around here just started popping up like just all over the place. So the place I was talking about, Roanoke Rail House, they opened before that law started. So you would go to their tap room and pay like $5 for a tour and 4 6-ounce pours or something. And since that law changed, we've gone from just them to maybe like 8 breweries in like 2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
And for this area, that's huge. I mean, because we're definitely not a big metropolitan area like, say, like where Randy is, or
Portland.
Or Portland. I mean, like I think if you include the outside counties, I mean, we're pushing like 300,000, but not. But it's in a lot of that is pretty rural. I mean, there's only like 100,000 in the city limits, but.
Keeping it sexy, baby.
Oh.
Classy.
And there's still more to come. I know there's another guy who's certified Cicerone and all this jibber jabber that's really on the front lines of trying to get the whole Deschutes movement to get Deschutes to come to Roanoke, and he's getting ready to open a brewery here. He bought some. He secretly bought some local landmark bar that he's turning into a brew pub, but.
Yeah, I know. I mean, OSU, Oregon State University, has its own fermentation program, and
Nice.
the brew pubs we see open around here stay open. They don't open and shut like a lot of other small businesses.
Good. Staying power.
Yeah, when they open, they're here for good.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, I think I know everybody. Well, I think most people have heard of Virginia Tech. But they have, I think they recently started some sort of brewing type program up there.
Cool.
That makes sense since it's a technical college,
Yeah, I think it's more of like a brewing education. I don't know if they're hands-on actually brewing there yet for it, but I think there's talks of it.
Anybody else want to jump on this question?
Yeah, I think Boston obviously is, again, it's exploding. I mean, there was a recent article in one of the I think it's called Wicked Local. Wicked. Local.
Wicked.
Yeah, and there's they posted up the top 15 new breweries opening up, and there was like same thing. It was like a 20-mile radius, let's say, of Boston, and there was just tons of like new breweries popping up, even two-cider houses, and the old brewmaster from Harpoon is actually opening up. It's called Barrel House Z. It should be opening end of this year. He's the old brewmaster at Harpoon, and he's strictly doing barrel. He's specializing in barrel aged beers, and so there's tons of stuff going on over here. It's really it's pretty ridiculous. Again, to mention, I moved on to my second beer, but again, Trillium. I mean, they're earlier this year they celebrated their second year anniversary, and they're already in Sierra Nevada's beer camp. Like you
Yeah,
think about
I
how
was
crazy.
I would probably give up about 10 breweries around me just to have Trillion. I would exchange Trillion coming over
that's what I'm
here,
saying,
and
like,
I will
can you
send 10
just
breweries over there.
Imagine how fast things are moving. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
second year
Well, that's what I was
they're
going to say.
recognized.
That's what I was going to
Ridiculous.
ask. Like, I've only heard of Trillium or seen pictures of Trillium beers just probably in the last
They were just so they're bottling and filling growlers out of their location now, dead in the middle of downtown Boston. So the second brewery is opening up soon, but they used to sell like last year within the first year they were local bottle shops, so they were distributing locally. They can't keep up with that anymore. They're not. If you're not going to the brewery, you're not getting Trillium anymore. Not even at bars for the most part.
I was about to say they've been going for at least a year. I know that for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So year 2, man, they're already in the beer camp. I mean, it's pretty crazy if you think about that.
But think about it, how prominent Hardywood is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only about a little over 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
DC Brown, DC Brown is only a couple years too, right?
Well, another one.
DC Brown's like 2007 or something like that.
Oh, okay. See, I thought
Wait, I might
thought
be wrong.
they were.
Hold on.
No, you're.
Well, you throw Hardywood Park in there. I'll tell you another one that like Wicked Weed.
Wicked Weed, yeah.
They've only been around for just over 2 years or 3 years.
Yep. That's booming. These guys definitely know what they're doing.
You can say the same thing about Intuition. It hasn't been open that long, and it's already, canned and in grocery stores. So.
But the crazy thing about Trillium, is last night when we spoke with Ben from the brewery, Trillium has that name now, right? People on the West Coast are like trying to get Trillium beer,
Yep.
and just like how people over here are trying to get the breweries beers. And we get a lot of their beers, but they're only brewing like 10,000 barrels.
Yeah, exactly.
They 10,000 barrels a year, and they're crazy popular. I would guess that Trillium is probably maybe around that 10,000 barrel mark on an annual basis, or maybe probably less.
It's less, yeah. I can tell you. Actually, I was just looking it up. I remember they posted it, but they're with the new brewery, what they were expecting to come out. It's not that they're. I think they're definitely less.
So that just goes to show, man. I mean, it's not about quantity; it's about quality, right? I mean, you got these small guys making beer that, if the beer is good, people will find out and people will seek it out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the guy that. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think that the biggest thing about Trillion is and what I'm going to say is not to bash Hattie Topper. I think Hattie Topper is amazing. I love Hattie Topper. I could have a Hattie Topper every week. But I find many of the beers from Trillion better than Hattie Topper and much accessible, easy to get.
Yeah.
Well, that's the big thing too, and I'll say this before I get into what I was talking about for the local guys. But there's so many I need to talk to Freddie and get him to send me some Trillium. But there's so many breweries now, Treehouse and what's the one that makes the Fiddlehead?
Yeah, Fiddlehead.
Yeah, like that. Like there's all these breweries that opened up in the last 2 or 3 years in New England that are just like killing it.
Lawson's in Connecticut. Vermont. Now they're in Connecticut at 2 Roads.
Yeah.
New England period's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've had double sunshine from Lawson's Finest, and it's right up there with Hattie Topper. I mean, it's delicious. But the brewery I was talking about earlier here, it's called Big Lick Brewing Company. They've, like I was saying, they've made, I don't know, like 70 different beers this year alone since they've opened. They just had their 1 year anniversary party like a month ago, and a lot of their stuff that they're making is, I mean, their barrel aged beers they did were a little boozy. They did a barley wine and a stout. They're tough, but everything else they've made is like, I mean, so solid. Like their double IPA and their triple IPA they did are hands down some of the best I've ever had. And it's, you know, literally, it's owned by two couples, 3 teachers and some sort of tech guy. It's just like they brew like 1 day a week.
Nice.
I think out here it's more, if you're an adventurous brewer, then people are really, really gonna like you.
Well, that's the thing around here. Like I was telling you, like the place, the first brewery around here, they were kind of brewing for the masses. They weren't really trying to brew for, you know, the hardcore like craft beer fan. And the owner of the brewery is kind of just he's kind of a jackass, to be honest with you. And he's definitely, I understand everybody gets in business to make money. I get that. But he's like all business forward and not quality at all. So their beers and their lack of creativity and a lack of ambition to try to make things different and creative, it's kind of been just crappy. But now that they've got their new location, they've got like a 2-3 barrel system, and then their brewer's a guy as a member of my home brew club, and they're really kind of letting him finally show what he can do and try to actually make, you know, these local one-off beers.
Yeah. Gil, DC Browse 2009.
2009. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, let me just run down the panel one time. We're running out of time to talk about second beers, but Gil, why is drinking local important to you?
I would say drinking local quality beer, right? Because there's a difference between being local and being good. But I think if you make your community strong, you know, things just get better where you live, and it's about quality of life. And you know, you have a nice place to live. You have you know, easy places to go where I can just drive for 2 minutes and get to a brewery and have a great beer and strengthen my community and give opportunity for people that are local. I tired giving my money to big corporations, to the Walmarts and AB InBev. I want to make sure that my dollars is spread out to the people that deserve it. I think if local with quality, I'm all for it.
Doug?
I'm exactly the same boat as Gil, because like not only is it like when it comes to local, like I'm all local for the most part. I mean, yeah, I make some exceptions, but when it comes to everything, like I don't eat at chain restaurants in Roca here. I don't, you know, do any of that. But like I try to be as local as possible, and mainly not only because I like to support the, you know, obviously the local economy, but so many of the local breweries here have you know, members of my home brew club, or three of the breweries here, their head brewers are members of my home brew club. So it's like, hey, you know, we're like getting together, having homebrew meetings, and then we're, you know, I'm drinking your beer too. That, so it's kind of gives you that extra personal touch to it.
Lola?
Well, I would say the same thing as Gil said and the same thing as what Doug said. I do want to promote more choice in our neighborhoods so that we have options to get different types of beer. And also, I feel like when I go into a local brewery, I have more of a chance of meeting the brewer, meeting the owner, and developing a sort of rapport with them.
Okay. Freddie?
I think I'm going to chime in the same thing like everyone's saying. You know, I'm supporting the local economy, I'm supporting the local thing, but also like I think it's just craft beer and the local craft brew scene. It's been different because a lot of the breweries here, not only they actually contribute, you know, they throw in little festivals, they're taking part at, you know, like food festivals, beer festivals. They're producing, let's say, beers with adjuncts locally made, you know what I mean? Like if they're making a strawberry weed or watermelon weed, they're trying to get something local from local farms, you know, so they're doing their job as well. And it literally, I think before, like a lot of stigmas were like, yo, you have a local pub, a local bar, and it's like a dive bar, and it's like grungy and dim and stuff. And I think that's all changed now with a lot of these breweries. You know what I mean? Like, it's really bringing the communities together. Like, people are meeting up at like brew pubs and just like hanging out. They're getting good food. They're drinking good beer. Good things are happening. You're meeting people that are like the same interests as you, and I think it's awesome. Like,
I think what you just said in the beginning is very important. I think when you support local, you support yourself because all that money is going to your own community. All the investment is happening.
Yeah.
Well, especially here, like when it comes to the local breweries, like since there's so many more breweries here than like brew pubs. When it comes to like the breweries here, there'll be a brewery and then there'll be like 3 food trucks. So it's not only you're supporting like the brewery, but it's like a whole like kind of community, not just not the city, but like a smaller community of local businesses.
Yeah. Linda.
It's all about accessibility for me. When I walk into a brew pub, I want to see the brewer. I want to see the equipment. It's about Dave. It's about Winther. It's about Cindy. It's about Brian. And these people, I see these people in the community every day. And they turn around and they recognize me because I make it a point to make sure and emphasize that these people are part of our community.
Awesome. Ricky.
So she just kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's community first. I mean, and I'll go back to Fate. So I was at the grand opening of Fate Brewing Company that was started by Steve McFate. His dad is a part of it as well. And there is nothing cooler than going to Fate, having a beer, and having Steve pour it. And then to come over and sit down at the table and have a conversation about the beer, whether I like it or I don't. To then on Saturday go to a beer festival and have Steve behind the table pouring beers to talk about the beers, to then see him as I'm walking through Target. It's community first. And I'm not going to run into Stone's head brewer at Target. I mean, I might, but one, I wouldn't know who it is because he's not local. But the idea is that it's about community, and I'm going to drink here first before I go outside of here because local is right down the street versus, I mean, yeah, I can get other beers at the liquor store, but it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same, and I'm not supporting my local community.
Yeah, I feel the same way as everybody, right? I mean, it's better to keep the money within the community. It's always awesome to build these types of relationships with the people who are. I mean, these people brew what is our passion, right? So it's always good to have like a cool relationship with them, and you walk. It's awesome when you walk into the brewery when the owner or the head brewer, whatever, says, hey Randy, what's up? Come here to the back, try this, and they pour you something off of the fermenter or they pour you something off of the bright tank. You know what I mean? Like that's an awesome feeling, and and just to know that you're supporting local people. Typically, the local guys, you got some who are gonna play it safe with their beers and kind of cater to the masses. But you also, the more variety you have, the more people you're gonna have who are willing to take chances with their beer and try to brew some crazy stuff. And I like that. I like going to new local spots and trying new beers that they have, or something that they're thinking about putting out and stuff like that. So it's all about keeping the money in the community. It's all about building relationships with these guys, and because ultimately, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind doing what they do someday. So you get the opportunity to kind of build these relationships and glean their techniques techniques aside, just learning about beer from these guys, right? I mean,
yeah, and the local brewers are always far more willing to talk to you.
Yeah. I mean, we homebrew, so we know a little bit about brewing, but these guys brew for a living. When we're at our 9 to 5s, these cats are at work brewing all day. So there's so much more to learn from them, and like Linda said, the local guys are willing to talk to you. I mean, most of them, as is evident through Pints and Quarts, you see most of these brewers, their roots started in homebrewing. So they can easily kind of talk the homebrew lingo, you know what I'm saying, when you're asking them questions about beer or whatever. So
it's the little things, right?
Yeah.
We sometimes little things we take for granted. good
Yeah.
service, make you feel you have a voice, so the little things.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's about the relationship for me more than anything. The relationship and knowing that my money is kind of staying within the community. So,
Well, and another thing, when you're at a local place like that, even the servers tend to know a lot. Whereas if you're at, a conglomerate type place, the servers are like, I don't really like beer. So that's another good thing about it.
all right. So that said, that's gonna wrap our show. Please be sure to join us next week when we are talking. Well, the theme will be corked beers.
Which I'm on style for now, because I got mixed up and thought that was what the style was tonight.
I got that.
Well, Lola, you'll probably still have a wine stopper in it next week, so you should be.
It's still in there. It's Alaskan white IPA, and I drank some of it last night, some of it tonight, and it's still in the refrigerator.
You had a white IPA that was corked?
Yep, Cajun corked.
Huh.
Alaskan.
Right. So, be sure to join us next week when you will see Freddie drinking his Lindemann's Creek.
That's so good.
AKA syrup.
I like
it. Syrup. So, thank you for joining us, y'all. And until next week, cheers.
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 Cheers.